Right, hey guys, how we doing? Video I've been wanting to do for a while, but as I've mentioned many times now, my laptop was out of commission, and I think I've got everything sorted now, and put out long videos, and this is explaining the speed of Bleach characters from Clyde. And Bleach characters are really fast. The basic way I can put it is people are using light-based attacks, and people are moving faster than that to dodge it. So, speed of light is very fast, and they can move faster than that. But how fast is that they are going? Let's find out.
If you're a fan of Bleach, please hit that subscribe button.
I think we'll find out.
Let's support Bleach as a team until the anime returns. Because if you support me, I'll continue
because it is actually coming back.
In the future.
So cool.
Bleach characters are known for their flashy, clean, fast fighting style.
Yes, they are.
In fact, it's so synonymous with the series that even the main character himself moves this damn fast. Oh, what the
Oh, damn.
Many people who view or talk about the series of Bleach tend to be quite confused as to how fast these characters are actually moving. Or in most cases, many vexatious individuals who actually talk about it tend to spout absolute nonsense in regards to the series, don't actually understand the series, and spread a lot of misinformation to the general populace who consumes Bleach itself.
Yeah.
Oh god, that sounded weird. So in today's video, I'm going to explain, debunk, and clarify just how fast characters in the series are on average.
Okay.
But wait, guys. Before we do get into that, I want to talk about today's lovely sponsor, which, listen guys, this is very important, which actually happens to be the new Bleach mobile game, Bleach Immortal Soul. First and foremost, this game is an officially licensed RPG game. So this means that if you loved the story of Bleach, then you love the story of this game. As a fantastic bonus, it comes balanced with an equally good chunk of action. In the game, you collect, level up, and use your favorite characters to create a strategic team to devastate any potential enemies in your way.
I like the design,
it's
cool.
There are various modes to choose from.
Design.
It's story mode, PvP, battle arena, and for those of you looking for more of a challenge, roguelike. So if any of this interests you, which it 100% should,
if you're a Bleach fan,
you're more than likely a Bleach fan if you're watching this video, then go to the description below and follow all of the relevant links. Pre-registering for this game will allow you to receive a very generous gift at launch, which can be done via Google Play or the App Store. Of course, in order to get the gift pack, you'll have to register via the official website. So what are you waiting for?
In the description.
Once this video is done, go to the description below,
there we go.
Pre-register, get your gift, and enjoy a fantastic new Bleach mobile game. And also guys, I want to thank them once more for sponsoring this video, because without Bleach Immortal Soul, videos like these wouldn't be possible. And if you want a new Bleach mobile game to play, go to the description, go download the game with my link, go support them, and you'll have yourself a brand new Bleach game to play. It does look cool. I like that. On board for this video. You guys wanted this video, and I'm super hyped. So once more, thank you to Bleach Immortal Soul for sponsoring this video. So anyway guys, back to the video about the speed of characters in the series of Bleach. One of the funniest things I've seen when it comes to talking about feats in Bleach, and just talking about specifically speed in the series, right? One of the funniest things I've ever seen is this statement here. You have smooth brains who will unironically say things like, well, sonido translates to sound from Spanish to English, therefore we can assume they are moving as fast as some of the slowest fighter jets in real life. And at the same time, you also have them performing continental to planetary tier feats of attack potency. So we can substantiate that these characters are able to not only blow up planet-sized objects with the snap of a finger, but they're doing it while only moving at 767 miles per hour, which is about 3.5 times faster than a Lamborghini Aventador. In terms of consistency in power amongst most anime, that sounds very funky, doesn't it?
Sounds a bit off. Does sound a bit off.
About the sonido stuff and the translation argument, it's like actually saying that Muhammad Ali floats like a butterfly and literally stings like a bee because of his famous catchphrase. It's like actually saying that the third Hokage Hiruzen is a real god because he is referred to as a god of shinobi. It's like saying Ceros do 0% damage because Cero means zero when you translate it from Spanish to English. It's like actually saying that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. I thought that would be a good way to open up the video.
Oh,
because
wow.
I'm sure if you're a fan of Bleach within the past, 5 to 10 years, you've heard that come up at least once. So you can see how dumb that argument is. Another thing I see come up, which always blows my mind, is the individuals who bring up the law of relativity to say, well, going by the laws of physics, technically nothing can move faster than light, because merely moving that fast would create so much energy and mass that you would destroy everything around you. It's funny how these same people who have an issue with fictional characters being able to move at light speed in a completely fictional story, where characters can also at the same time shoot laser beams
out
from
of
their hands, teleport, fly, use hypnotic abilities, change reality, and even go back in time.
They have a problem with that.
Oh no, the issue here is light speed being impossible because of the laws of physics in real life.
Yeah, it's not real. It's not real.
My lord. Okay, so let's start getting a bit more serious with this video. Because although I do need to talk about those two things that I just spoke about, I will get to a bit more of a serious topic among the series. Coming in number 1 is the famous databook scan where it states, like lightning, Ichigo pressures Byakuya with godlike speed and attacks him at close range. Now, this is a databook page I've mentioned in Seth the Programmer and I's Ichigo vs. Akatsuki collaboration video, and I also mentioned it in my Vasto Lorde video.
Both very good videos.
Databook scan is that this statement is a play on words to make Ichigo sound, as even the scan says, godlike. It's all about exhibition, and it is meant to hype up Ichigo's speed because this databook scan is putting importance on the transformation scene itself, where Ichigo's main quirk here in this battle is his speed. Truth be told, it was in fact one of the biggest moments in the story of Bleach, so of course it's going to be hyped up in extra source material. It's merely meant to sound cool, just like, I've said this analogy before, in religious books, mythology, and other various pieces of literature, they always tend to use words like godlike, holy, unlimited power, transcend the heavens, heavenly, etc. Using this statement as an actual way to quantify Ichigo's speed among the series, just based on a few flashy words in the databook, is like saying I have light-like speed for using a laser pointer. Like if you were to record me in third person, and you were like, as you can see here, Clyde is reading the laser pointer, and by doing so, it makes him have the power and speed of a god. Clyde waves his finger like light and transcends the gods themselves. Also, does this make Byakuya have godlike lightning type speed too? Because he actually used a Kido called Hado number 4 Byakurai in this very same battle, which is a bolt of lightning from his finger, and we know Byakuya is much slower than the speed shown by Ichigo in that specific scene. I mean, if you actually want to take the statement further and make it even more wacky, you could just say that Ichigo literally has the power of a god, and godly lightning is faster than real-life lightning. You see how dumb this is? Like, it becomes a bit weird when you use statements like this, especially when most people know that the point of that statement was to hype up the scene in Bleach.
Yeah, just make it sound awesome.
In the manga and anime. Nothing more, nothing less. It's silly. Like, if you legitimately use this to scale Ichigo when all it is just hype wording, yeah, it's pretty dumb. That's all I need to say, guys. The biggest issue we have, however, is this. Gin Ichimaru's Bankai is very annoying to debate, to say the very least, because for some weird reason, people seem to forget that this manga page and anime scene right here even happened. You wouldn't believe the amount of times I've heard Gin be brought up to downplay Bleach's speeds in Discord debates, on Twitter, or on random versus websites filled with the same kind of individuals who unironically debate at cafes and libraries, only to find out these aforementioned individuals didn't even pay attention to the follow-up later on, where Gin specifically says he lied about his Zanpakuto's ability and its speed when it extends in Bankai. Not only does it contradict feats shown earlier in the series, but you need to remember the original context and tone of how it was said to Ichigo. Ichigo at this point in the story is a 15-year-old boy, going on 16, right, who had only just recently learned how to use Shinigami powers, where he went from a normal high school student who
to being thrown into
about his grades,
saving the world,
a pretty normal life for the most part, to being able to fly, shoot beams of light from his f***ing sword that came out of
he's not going to understand how everything works, is he?
And has a being inside of him that can destroy the entire planet at any given moment. When Gin claps his hands and states, it can extend 500 times faster than this, Hell, it would even sound impressive to me at first thought, as how do you expect Ichigo to know how fast Mach 500 is on the spot?
Yeah,
Plus, he
like,
then goes
he's
on
not
to
going to know
block
that
the thing
speed.
multiple times and surpasses its speed anyway. In fact, the only times the blade scratches Ichigo is when he is freaking out over trying to figure out how it shrank so fast, and Gin even says he feels like his sword is going to break just from striking Ichigo's blade, who is only in Bankai, not holification. Gin even monologues about how he's impressed that Ichigo can work out how the Bankai actually works, and makes a quote about how although he is impressed by Ichigo, he still thinks that he has a long way to go. Then he proceeds to lie about its speed. You know what's funny too? All Gin says in the official translation is that it's 500 times faster than a clap, but what people fail to realize is that Gin is saying faster than a clap from a Shinigami, or to be even more specific, an individual above captain level. If Gin were to extend his fist out and say that his sword impacts an object 500 times harder than his fist does, would we assume he is talking about how hard the average human can hit, or how hard he can hit? You could also argue that sound and bleach is
That's really interesting. Yeah, like he moves faster than normal people, so for him to clap like that,
via the sound which is emitted
he's
from his
clapping
mouth
faster than a normal
in the first place,
person
as
would
the same
be.
Ichigo who fights him actually blocks light at point blank range from a Menos Grande, which is backed up by the data books too. Now sure, Shrika isn't a Menos Grande, I'm not even saying that, but he's still within the same ballpark of villains at the very start of the series, which Ichigo sort of, he fights. Gin later has a conversation with Aizen, which I mentioned earlier, where he says verbatim, "It doesn't stretch as long as I said, it doesn't stretch as fast as I said." Now you could say, well, wouldn't Aizen find that unimpressive when he was first told about its speed in the past? Because it's honestly
It's still
not that
really
fast,
fast.
and surely he would have made a comment about that, right? There's two ways to look at this. He could have told Aizen it was even faster than what he told Ichigo, but I do doubt that because it seems to be a direct follow-up from the conversation with Ichigo, and I also have a suspicion that Kubo might have retconned it because of how slow it actually is compared to stuff shown previously in the series, and he realized he made a mistake when he wrote that in the Gin chapter, though that's not really relevant and it is very headcanon for me to assume such, but this definitely is a follow-up for the viewers to read what Gin said versus Ichigo versus what he said to Aizen later on. We can, however, consider that
God,
Aizen
he starts talking about the
probably thought
Quincy's
Gin
and how they
used
attack with
his
light
bomb
as well. That's
extending
like
ability to betray him. He did state he was aware Gin would eventually turn on him and he was always suspicious of Gin, but Aizen also says, "I hope you don't think you can kill me this easily," after using his Bankai's Kamishini no Yari, implying he doesn't find it impressive and was definitely cut by the Bankai because he was caught completely off guard. And this happened straight after Aizen was under the impression Gin had just killed his childhood friend. The entire scene is exhibition of Gin's betrayal moment, which Kubo made us aware has been a plot point for many years in the Bleach lore.
Which is
if
class.
you want to use the statement that Gin made to Ichigo about its speed to downplay Aizen caliber fighters, well, Aizen was able to do this to the same Ichigo who only in Bankai was able to keep up with that said Bankai from Gin, and when Aizen is actually on guard, this is what happens to Gin.
boom.
Also, you could be desperate and say
dude.
Gin told Ichigo the truth about his Bankai and he told Aizen something else entirely, but why would he do that when Aizen is only meters away from him when he talks to Ichigo?
Yeah, he would
Aizen found out he had lied to him from merely overhearing his conversation with Ichigo, or he becomes suspicious of Gin.
He would get suspicious, wouldn't he? Yeah, wouldn't want to ruin this moment he's going to get.
Although the databook pages involving Gin and his Bankai speed, where it repeats his original statement about it being 500 times the speed of a clap, have only ever been fan translations, as Viz is yet to officially translate this databook to English alongside a few others, and at this current point in time, the Bleach databook Unmasked only being sold in Japanese and French. Even with there being
probably be translated now as promotional for the anime coming back, you'd hope.
So it makes me wonder that yes, authors are usually involved in data books and the creation of data books, but it feels like they usually just give their brief insight on certain scenes and then the publishers essentially just fill in the rest.
Right, just go with it. So they give them like a brief overlay and then like, right, okay, so that means this then.
Like speed, or Kakashi Hatake being omnipotent in one of the Naruto data books. It's honestly just cool language for the fans happens, really. At the end
Hype
of the day, you
it
need
up.
to realize these people aren't power scalers, and majority of the audience they are aiming these extra books towards are children and young teens who just buy them because they're fans of the series. The goal is just to give us some extra material of our favorite series.
Like, I remember I was getting hyped about Naruto. I was buying those data books like, wow, cool.
For those of you who are going to bring up Candace's lightning, Robert's pistol, Remy's machine guns, or BG9's minigun, I have a very super simple rebuttal to offer. An attack and its nature type is not limited to that said nature type when it comes to the potency of what it can do based on the user. Just like the Shrieker sound example, all it means is that the guns used in the series can fire bullets at the same speed as how fast characters move. When you think about it this way, why can Fodder Quincy dodge light at point blank range alongside Shinigami, who would get one shot by those said Fodder Quincy who can also dodge light, yet they would have trouble with the speed of bullets and lightning.
Yeah, why would they struggle with that? They're faster.
By any means, but lightning is 3,000 times slower than light.
I never once thought about that being like a weird thing with them using guns and stuff. Because it's a gun that moves. It's like a mystical kind of weapon, isn't it? It's not going to. They're not just going to use normal
now's the fun part of
speed
the video. I'm going to list
against people that can move faster than light
that I am aware of in the series. There's probably way more out there that I'm not even aware of, and if you can think of any that I've forgotten, please feel free to leave them in the comments.
This is going to be good.
The comments, so please do that. But I'm going to read out a list of light speed feats that I've found throughout the series of Bleach. Chad, a rather weak character compared to the Espada, is able to watch a light-based attack from Gantenbein come towards him, which he then reacts to and tanks at point-blank range. And the databooks themselves also refer to this attack as being a light-based attack.
Right, okay, there you go.
Lieutenant class Shinigami are able to avoid the Nagashon at point-blank range,
which is light.
Is in danger, meaning
they move out the way.
Fast by default, and is even used to get Espada out of the world of the living, meaning it scales to Vasto Lorde tier hollows. This is not only referred to as light by the head captain of the 13 Core Guard Squads, but also hyped up by him as he tells other Shinigami to not even bother with it.
Yeah, leave it alone.
He respects its ability, basically the same way that he hypes up the durability of the Chains of Hell in the Bleach Hellverse movie. Nanao, a character who doesn't even have a Zanpakuto of her own and almost shat her undergarments from merely standing near Genryu Saya Yamamoto, can actually tag X-Axis, realizes he is attacking with light-based attacks, and this guy is the literal embodiment of light itself.
Yeah.
In fact, X-Axis even says he is having trouble seeing her because of how bright her Godslayer sword is, which explains why, although Shunsui could barely react to his movements, Nanao only could because she was blinding him, not because the sword was amping her speed or anything like that. Also, not only is he intangible and appears to be able to teleport inside of rooms, but he is basically Bleach's version of Kizaru from One Piece. We also have two versions of Ichigo that would essentially get soul crushed to death by the higher Espada, scaling to characters who scale directly to those lieutenants I mentioned earlier, as he blitzes them without them even being able to react to his movements. One being the right-hand man of the head captain, and the other being the lieutenant of the Cell Force, a division which even Aizen praises for their speed and ability. He also then scales to characters like Byakuya and Yoruichi at this point in the story, with his Bankai that amps his speed by 5 to 10 times that of
absolutely crazy.
Blitzes the lieutenants, which Grimjow calls average speed. And Ichigo is even able to block a Seto at point blank range,
which is light.
Seto itself, which then sends a Menos Grande back to Hueco Mundo, a hollow which scales directly to Lieutenant Class Shinigami, and it uses a Sero, which is referred to as light in the data books, all the way back in chapter 49. Arden Yero dodges light at point blank range, and this is something that's actually a part of his narrative, written and drawn by the author himself, which revolves around his weakness to light. In fact, it's so blatantly light speed that Arden Yero's face is actually still dark as he looks at the hole in the wall and is able to
moves out of the way
of the light
coming in
the span of him turning his face. In the war arc, Rukia is able to watch, react, and defend herself as a light-based attack, panel for panel, flies towards her face from Asnod. This is one of the most blatant light speed feats in the manga, and in other translations, Byakuya also refers to the same light spurs as light, and the fodder Shinigami attacked by the actual light spurs claim they're glowing when they get blitzed. We also have the Oshvalen Light, a light used by Yuha Bark to steal powers from the Quincy's at any given moment. We actually see some of the weakest Quincy's able to dodge this said light, and not only does it have to travel an insanely large distance to reach the Quincy's from the Soul Palace, who are still in the Soul Society, but for it to be slower than the Nagashionn, which is a light amped by one of the strongest characters in the entire series, and he is trying to steal their powers before they can evade the light, it just seems incredibly silly in my opinion for it to be any slower. You'd essentially be saying that Soul Society lieutenants like Rongiku are faster than Quincy's in the War Arc if you say the Oshvalen Light is slower than the Nagashionn. Also, the idea that Yuha Bark has a technique that's slower than his casual Quincy arrows when he purposely wants to steal people's abilities as quick as possible so he can buff himself with Sarnites. It seems really weird, doesn't it, guys? Why would the light be slower than the Nagashionn?
Why would he have a technique where he needs it to it needs to be quick?
The actually have a technique called Bring a Light, which is their version of Shunpo and Sornido. This allows them to move as fast as Shinigami and Espada level characters, and even a time skip Uryu refers to the technique as it using light. Now, this doesn't inherently make it light speed, but the very fact that they're amping themselves with light to be relative to much stronger characters in the series is enough evidence to assume that this isn't just some flashy Sketcher type shoes ability. It is legitimate light speed. So just like the Sornido
Sonic wearing is really fast
I guess
shoes.
The Espada are only 767 miles per hour, while all of the Fullbringers are 670 million miles per hour.
It's quite a difference. It's quite a freaking difference.
Yami is an attack that can move 20 times faster than a normal Zero or attack by the user, meaning if you say the entire verse can only move at just 1 times the speed of light throughout the entire series, like let's just say in the final chapter of Bleach, that's when they finally hit light speed, right?
Yeah, just now.
At the very end of the series can go into his release state, making him 10 times faster than light, then use a Bala, which would amp him another 20 times that of his normal speed with his attacks, right? So yeah, you can do the math. They're pretty quick. Ukiyora's Las de la Luna is referred to as a light-based spear in the data books, and its name is referred to as Light of the Moon, which Ukiora uses to speed blitz Ichigo and says he would have beheaded him with it had he not reacted as quick as he did. He can also launch this attack so fast that Ichigo's brain can't even comprehend a second one being thrown instantly.
It's like, what?
In the same
How?
Now, although this isn't inherently light speed, once again, I do want to say that this entire scene here is because of the Nagashionn scaling and the Ardeniro stuff. Obviously, Ukiora in his base form, let alone his first release, is much faster than Ardeniro. So, just a cool little feat. Not saying it's inherently light speed, but it is with scaling. No doubts there. Quincy arrows are also referred to as light-oriented attacks in the data books. Now, this doesn't make them inherently light speed, just like how not every Ki Blast in Dragon Ball is light speed because they're referred to as light many times in the series. Don't get me wrong, but we do know that Uryu scales above Chad, and he also scales above Mayuri in his Lech Steel form, who obviously scales above the lieutenants who are all FTL, meaning any variant of Uryu above this form has arrows that are all bare minimum FTL, and he even has a technique that can spam hundreds of arrows in one attack, which Ukiora casually swipes away with his wings. When Ichigo fights the leader of the Horse Division, Kurge, Ichigo complements the speed and attacks of Kurge's arrows while in Shikai, after he catches the arrow with his bare hand, saying they are, quote, way stronger than Uryu's, and Kurge responds by saying Uryu's arrows should be stronger than his own. Kurge then goes into his Volstandig, is able to blitz Shikai, Ichigo, and company, and then uses his Quincy powers to completely absorb Ion, after Ion beats him up and he is impressed by his power, where the next panel says Light of Happiness as he absorbs him. Even when he is fused together with Ion, who was already arguably stronger than himself, really just depends on how you interpret the scene because he was hit off guard, but he does say he wasn't expecting Ion to be that strong and that they need to buff the defense of the Blood Vein. He still can't beat Bankai Ichigo, and Ichigo swipes multiple of his amped arrows out of the sky with ease.
So
Kurge
fast.
even to himself, stating Ichigo's speed is the real problem. Another feat of crazy speed is traveling traveling from the Soul Palace. Now, Ichigo's ability to travel from the Soul Palace to the Soul Society can also be called massively faster than light, alongside the Mimihagi being able to travel that distance in the snap of a finger. Obviously, this is much faster than the Nagashionn and the Oshvalen Light. Quincy's also use a lot of attacks that involve light,
They do.
the names of them, and god-related abilities and things like that. Super flashy powers, but, you know, once again, they're not all inherently light speed, but things like fake Yuha Buck's God Seal and then X-Axis's abilities and some of the things that Gerard Valkyrie does and so on, it's very blatant that they're all light speed.
Yeah.
As I said, with scaling,
people move and dodge and evade.
Speed bare minimum, regardless of that. You could also argue that Bakudo 61, Uriko Jokoro, is actually a light speed attack because it uses literal beams of light to quickly trap people so that they can't move. This is the ability that Byakuya used to stop Rukia's body from being able to move, and obviously, you know, he's much faster and stronger than Adeniro is, and so is Zamari. Zamari is one of the characters in the series who boasts having, you know, the fastest Sonido of all the Espada, so I think it's pretty consistent to say that. It could depend on the user, but it does explicitly say that it is a light-based attack and it's used to trap opponents. It's even used against Aizen when Urahara uses it. There's also lots of really cool speed-related Kido techniques. You've got lightning-based Kidos, light-based Kidos. There's a few teleporting-related Kidos, which you can whip out during battle and teleport places. There's also ones that stop time, so you can use those in battle too. And then there's also the final one is Aizen's teleporting technique, which you could also argue X-Axis can do the same thing. Now, I just want to clarify something here. This is not a definite thing I'm stating here because it's not confirmed in any data books, it's not confirmed in the manga, it's not confirmed in the anime. To my knowledge, unless it's out there somewhere and someone wants to show me in the comments or send it to me on my Discord server, which is linked in the description below, right? You want to join and talk about Bleach, please feel free to join if you're a Bleach fan in the description below. But a lot of people interpret the Aizen teleporting technique with the Hogyoku as actual teleportation. Now, sure, if it is teleportation, fantastic. That's crazy scaling for Bleach. I've got nothing against it, but although it potentially is teleportation, I'm being very loose with this because it's not confirmed anywhere. There is also that technique too, and it's pretty consistent with, you know, the Kidos that can teleport and lots of things like that. So yeah, if there's any proof of that being actual teleportation, I'm yet to find any scans of my own or any data book translations, but there's also that too, so hopefully that's a cool little last thing to end off the video, because Aizen uses it a few times against Ichigo, and if all of the higher tiers like Dongai, Ichigo, Aizen, and anyone above them can react to teleportation type speeds, that is insane.
Yeah, it's super fast.
Anyway, fellas, if you enjoyed this video, please do me a small favor and go to the description below and follow all of my social medias that I have linked down there. I'd really appreciate it if you would go support all of them. Follow my Instagram, which is at the description below. You know, you can see my face reveal. People are usually weirdly obsessed with that sort of stuff, so if you want to go see what I look like, I've got an Instagram. Go follow it in the description below. Go follow my Twitch. I want to start using that way more. I might even be streaming after this video goes up live, so if you go check that out too, you can come hang out and I will be streaming and talking to the chat. I usually just sit there and answer questions, so it'll be pretty fun. And yeah, also follow my Twitter too. That's in the description below. I always post Bleach news. I always post like what videos I'm going to do next. Or
well, hell yeah, as soon as like they announced Bleach was coming back, you were all over it on Twitter.
You can also join my Discord server, which is in the description below.
Bleach,
come back. Also, if you want to watch more Bleach content, go check out my Ukiura video and my Vasto Lorde video if you're new to my channel.
Good
they
videos.
Are much better videos than this one, in my honest opinion, so if you're a Bleach fan, you'll definitely enjoy them. Also, go download the Bleach game. Like, they're supporting my channel, they're making videos like these possible,
That's really cool.
And if we get lots of downloads, they're probably going to come back and support my videos, so you'll get plenty of Bleach content. Also, when the anime returns, I'll keep making videos regardless. I'm never going to stop making Bleach content unless I drop dead. Obviously, you know, touch wood, that doesn't happen, but still, go support the game, go download it. It's a proper, full-fledged video game on the mobile, just like plenty of the other anime games you guys play on there, but I'd really appreciate that, honestly. If you guys would download it, I'd appreciate that. But anyway, with that being said, hope you all have yourselves a great day, and thank you for watching.
Boss, see? So many feats that involve light, and people are moving faster than that. How can you argue it? Hey ho, there we go. I like Clyde's videos. He always goes quick in there. And yeah, a few of you were asking me to check that out, so I did. And thank you guys very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys. It's all you guys next time.